The 90s weren't just about action blockbusters and teen comedies. They also gave us some of the most timeless love stories ever put on screen. From epic dramas to heartfelt rom-coms, these movies captured the magic, heartbreak, and passion of love in a way that still makes us swoon today. So, grab the tissues, because here are the top 10 most romantic movies of the 90s you'll never forget. 1. Titanic, 1997. Let's start with the obvious one. Titanic. James Cameron's epic wasn't just about a doomed ship. It was the story of Jack and Rose, two lovers from opposite worlds who found each other against all odds. Their whirlwind romance unfolded against the backdrop of one of history's greatest tragedies, making the love story even more powerful. Audiences weren't just watching a period drama. They were swept up in a tale of passion, sacrifice, and fate. From their stolen moments on the ship's deck to the heartbreaking farewell in the icy Atlantic, Jack and Rose's journey struck a chord with millions. The film blended spectacle with intimacy, ensuring the romance felt just as massive as the ship itself. It's that mix of grandeur and emotion that turned Titanic into more than a blockbuster. It became one of the most iconic love stories ever told, one that continues to resonate decades later. But not every 90s love story ended in tears. Some gave us laughs and happily ever afters. 2. Pretty Woman, 1990. Julia Roberts and Richard Gere lit up the screen in this modern Cinderella story that redefined the romantic comedy genre. The film told the story of a wealthy businessman who unexpectedly falls for a free-spirited woman with a heart of gold. And what started as a business arrangement slowly blossomed into something genuine and tender. Their chemistry was undeniable, and Roberts' radiant charm paired with Gere's cool sophistication made audiences believe in love that transcends social boundaries. It wasn't just a rom-com, it was a cultural moment. From the unforgettable shopping scene to the fairy tale ending with Gere climbing the fire escape, Pretty Woman delivered iconic moments that have been quoted, parodied, and celebrated for decades. The film reminded viewers that love often shows up in the most unexpected places, and that sometimes happily ever after can be found in the unlikeliest of matches. And speaking of Julia Roberts, she became the queen of 90s romance with another unforgettable hit. 3. Notting Hill, 1999. What if the world's biggest movie star fell in love with a bookstore owner? That's the premise of Notting Hill, where Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant gave us a tender, funny, and endlessly rewatchable romance. I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy. Need we say more?
Also just a girl standing in front of a boy.
But while this one had a fairy tale charm, some romances from the 90s leaned into the bittersweet side of love. 4. Sleepless in Seattle, 1993. Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks became the ultimate 90s duo in this unforgettable story of fate, longing, and second chances. The film follows two strangers, both carrying emotional scars, who are unknowingly brought together by destiny and the magic of timing. With its heartfelt premise about love that transcends distance, Sleepless in Seattle reminded audiences that sometimes true love finds a way. Even if it has to cross thousands of miles to do so, the film struck a perfect balance of humor, tenderness, and hope, cementing itself as one of the greatest romantic tales of the decade. From the late-night radio confession that touched countless hearts, to the climactic meeting atop the Empire State Building, every moment felt like a love letter to hopeless romantics everywhere. It's a movie that continues to remind us that soulmates may be out there waiting. We just have to be open to finding them. And if you love that pairing, they weren't done yet. 5. You've Got Mail, 1998. Before dating apps and swiping left or right, there were AOL chat rooms. The earliest digital spaces where people could connect, flirt, and sometimes even fall in love. You've Got Mail captured that magical, uncertain dawn of online romance, bringing audiences a story that felt both modern for its time and timeless in its heart. Once again, Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks proved they had undeniable chemistry, breathing life into two characters who start as rivals in the business world, but secretly bond behind computer screens. The film was witty, charming, and full of that late 90s optimism about technology's role in bringing people together. More than just a rom-com, it reminded us that sometimes love appears in the most unexpected places, like an inbox notification that simply reads, "You've got mail."
And you and I had just met.
I know.
Yeah.
But the 90s weren't only about lighthearted love stories. They also gave us sweeping, dramatic romances. 6. The English Patient, 1996. This Oscar-winning epic told the story of a doomed love affair set against the backdrop of World War II, blending sweeping landscapes with intimate emotions. At its heart, The English Patient is about a love so consuming that it defies war, politics, and even time itself. Passionate, tragic, and beautifully shot, it captured audiences with its haunting imagery and unforgettable performances. The film reminded viewers that romance can be just as epic as any action-packed adventure, carrying stakes that are deeply human. With its slow-burn intensity and heartbreaking conclusion, it remains one of the most powerful love stories ever brought to the screen.
Promise me you'll come back for me.
I promise.
And speaking of epic, one movie blended war, tragedy, and love in unforgettable fashion. 7. Legends of the Fall, 1994. Brad Pitt, Anthony Hopkins, and Aidan Quinn star in this sweeping family saga where love, loss, and betrayal collide against the rugged backdrop of the Montana wilderness. Adapted from Jim Harrison's novella, Legends of the Fall spans decades, weaving together themes of passion, war, and the unshakable bonds of family. Pitt's golden-haired Tristan became an instant 90s heartthrob, embodying the wild, untamed spirit that drew audiences in. Hopkins delivered a powerful performance as the stern yet vulnerable patriarch, while Quinn added complexity as the conflicted brother. The film's emotional core, centered on love, both unfulfilled and lost, remains as powerful today as it was then, making it unforgettable.
Told me that this was magic.
But let's not forget, sometimes the best romances are wrapped up in a little bit of comedy. 8. While You Were Sleeping, 1995. Sandra Bullock won audiences over as Lucy, a lonely transit worker whose life takes an unexpected turn after she saves a man from an oncoming train. Mistaken for his fiancée while he lies unconscious in a hospital bed, Lucy suddenly finds herself welcomed into his quirky, loving family. What follows is a mix of heartfelt comedy, tender moments, and just the right touch of romance as she navigates her secret while developing feelings for his brother. Funny, sweet, and endlessly charming, While You Were Sleeping captured the magic of love arriving when you least expect it. Decades later, it still feels warm, cozy, and timeless.
Yeah. I love you.
Of course, no 90s romance list is complete without one of the most famous teen love stories ever. 9. Romeo and Juliet, 1996. Baz Luhrmann's stylish reimagining of Shakespeare's timeless tragedy gave us Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes as the ultimate star-crossed lovers. Transported to a flashy, modern Verona beach, the film kept Shakespeare's original dialogue, but paired it with guns, neon lights, and a pulsating soundtrack. The bold blend of old and new made the story accessible to a younger audience, while staying true to its roots. DiCaprio and Danes delivered raw, emotional performances that made their doomed romance feel fresh and immediate. For a whole generation, Romeo and Juliet was more than just Shakespeare. It was bold, romantic, and unforgettable. And finally, let's end with a movie that blended music, passion, and raw emotion in a way few films ever have. 10. Ghost, 1990. Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore delivered one of the most iconic love stories of all time. With Whoopi Goldberg adding humor and heart, Ghost gave us romance that literally went beyond the grave. And yes, the pottery wheel scene is still one of the most famous romantic moments in film history. Outro. And there you have it. The top 10. Most romantic movies of the 90s you'll never forget. From epic love stories like Titanic to cozy rom-coms like While You Were Sleeping, these films defined a decade of romance and still make us believe in love today. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another nostalgia countdown. And let me know in the comments. What's your favorite 90s romance movie? Did it make the list, or do you think another one deserves the spotlight next time? Because just like these films remind us, true love stories never really fade.